Today I want to show you how I made this hexagonal fold-up box. I made one previously to look like a watermelon, and basically what happens is when you open it up you have all these little sections inside, and so they all just open up all the way along. And so I'm going to show you how I made this one today. The papers I've used are from first edition, and it's the first edition Mulberry Kisses pad. It's got textured paper, fabric textured paper, also it's got glitter designs and UV spot, and half of the pad are double-sided. As you can see, mine's been well used. It's a beautiful pad, really pretty. So let's get on with the project. Okay, so you will need a piece of card. Let me just get my scorer out. You'll need a piece of card that measures 8 inches by 6 7/8. Sorry, no, 6 3/4 actually, 6 3/4. This one is not quite right, but anyway, 6 3/4 inches. Okay, so this one's not quite right, but anyway, ignore me. So 8 inches by 6 3/4 inches. So what you want to do, put it onto your scoreboard, and you're going to score at 2.5, at 5, and at 7.5. Then you turn it round so that your tab is at the bottom, and you're going to score it at 2 1/8 and at 4 5/8. Okay. Then you need to get yourself a cork mat, which I thought I have already, but I don't have. Yourself a cork mat, and you're going to mark. In fact, you should have done this before. I'm not very well today, so you have to bear with me. My brain's not working. So what you need to do is take your, you can do this on the scoreboard beforehand, or like I am now afterwards. Take your ruler and measure across, so not from the tab side, you need to go from the side that doesn't have the tab on it. You need to go across at 3 3/4 inches and make a mark. Okay, and do that the same on the bottom. So 3 3/4 inches and make a mark. And then what you're going to do is you're going to score from your middle section. This is your middle section here, between these two score lines. You're going to score from that corner there where it meets the one going the other way, up until the mark you've made. Okay, and the same on the other side. So from that corner up to the mark, so you get a kind of a triangle. And you want to repeat the same on the bottom. So from the mark up to the corner, from the mark up to the other corner. You should end up with that. I don't know if you can see those score lines. I'm hoping you can. Okay, just going to switch my light on. Bear with me a second. Oh, I'm moving around. Right, so I'm hoping you can see that. Next, what you want to do is bring your trimmer in, and you're going to trim. So if you turn it round so you've got it portrait, you're going to trim from the first score line all the way down till you reach the other score line going the other way. And then you're just going to lift your blade up, take it to the next score line and repeat all the way down. So that's what you're cutting. This is where your tab is. This is what you're cutting. And you want to do the same here. Like that. And if you turn it round and you just want to do the same with the other score lines. So coming down till you reach the other way, you're basically cutting out all 4 corners. You're basically cutting these out. Like that. So you end up with that. Now what you want to do is take a pair of scissors and you're basically just going to cut. So where you've got your triangle score line, you're just going to cut about 1/4 of an inch, half an inch, no not half an inch, 1/4 of an inch, whatever width your red tape is basically, from that score line. So I know this red tape is going to fit in there, and I think this is 1/4 of an inch, this red tape. Let me just measure it. Yeah, 1/4 of an inch. So you want to measure, you want to cut even 1/4 of an inch roughly on the score line, because these are going to be your tabs that are going to fix the box together. So that's your finished template. So you need to do this times 6. You need 6 of these. The other thing as well I'm going to do, just on this end here, where you've got like your tab, I'm just going to ever so slightly miter that, and I do mean ever so slightly, like literally a fraction. Don't even know if you can see that. Literally a fraction off. That's how much I've taken off, that much there. A tiny, tiny amount. So you should end up with that. Okay, so you want to do that times 6. I've gone ahead and done it already, so you don't have to watch me do it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to assemble the box. As I said, I've reassembled the other 5. So you will also need some pattern paper. Now then, I've got a little drawing and I'm hoping you can see it. I thought I'd left some out but I haven't. So you need a bit of pattern paper, because you want to make little triangles that are going to fit on here, on these 2 sides, which is basically what I've done. I've don't use red card here, made it into watermelon. So you need, it's easier, because they need to be equilateral triangles, it's easier if, I don't know if you can see this here, if you cut a strip that is 1 7/8 tall, my writing is terrible, 1 7/8 tall, and then if you cut it to 7 7/8 and do 2 of those, then all you need to do is along the bottom of your page, you mark at 2 1/4, 4 1/2 and 6 3/4, and along the top of the page, making sure you leave the page in the same, the strip in the same place, you don't turn it round, you mark at 1 1/8, 3 3/8, 5 3/8, and then obviously you should have 7 7/8, which is the end of your page. So then what you do is you just draw zigzags and you join them up. So you can get 1 2 3 4 5 6. So you need 12 in total, because you've got 6 here and you've got 6 here. So you need 12. So if you do 2 lots, that will give you enough of the little triangles. See, that would have been just like that in a strip. Okay, give you enough triangles. The other thing as well that I would suggest you do is when you've drawn your pencil marks, your zigzags, make sure they're quite bold, because then what you can do is on the whole strip, before you cut them, you can put tape on the back. And if you put tape on the back, it makes life a whole lot easier. And if you can see, I've put double-sided tape on the back of there. So it just makes things a lot easier, because you haven't got to be fiddling around trying to tape a tiny triangle. So that's what I would advise for that. Right, So what we're going to do now is we're going to stick, in fact let's fold our lines first. We're going to fold along all our score lines first. So you end up with that. Now you only want to put tape on these two tabs where the square doesn't have a little extra bit, because this is going to be the lid of your box. Okay, so if I show you on here, this is a box I've already made, and that is the lid. So if you put tape here, then you will not be able to open your box. Okay, so the other thing as well we need to do is on this square here, I've just used a circle punch and I've just cut a tiny bit out of the top, just so you've got like a little thumb hole so that you can get in to open up the box when it's shut. Okay, so you just need to do that. Right, so now we're going to use red tape, and as I said, we're only going to put it, if you look at it flat, here you've got the little flap, then the main bit. You only want to put it, so where you've done your semicircle, you only want tape here. Do not want it up this side. There we go. And then all you need to do is, you just need to, I'll just trim mine because obviously I did mine a bit longer than I should have done. You just need to peel off your tape backing. Actually, before we do this, my brain's not working. Before we peel off the tape backing, we need to add our triangles. You can add your triangles after you've done the tape backing. It's just easier to stick triangles down if your box is flat. So we will do that now. And then we're going to stick our box together. There we go. So now you've created your box, and that flap just folds in. Like that to create your box. Okay, so you need to make 6 of those in total. Right, so next you need 2 pieces of card that measure 10.5 by 2.5, and you want to go down the card and score at 2 5/8, 5 1/4, 7 7/8, and that is your lot. So you want 2 of those. This is for the wraparound. So there's my other one. And then what you want to do is you also then want to cut out 6 of these little pattern squares, and these measure 2 3/8 by 2 1/4. Okay, and you want to stick them onto your card. Let's fold the card first though, so it makes it easier to fold and burnish all your score lines before you put card on. And you're going to stick 3 onto one card and 3 onto the other card. You need to make sure that you leave one without pattern on. Right, so there you have your 2 strips with pattern paper on. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to overlap them, and we're going to overlap them so that you have pattern, 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 blank, and then the same way around here, pattern, 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 blank. So that pattern is going to go over this panel here with the pattern on it, is going to go over the top of the one that doesn't have any pattern on it, and you're going to stick that down. So you have one continuous piece that has 6 pieces of pattern and then a blank. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stick that down now. Right, so now we need to start sticking in all of the little boxes. Make sure that all of your boxes have the bit that you've cut out all facing the same way, so they all open up the same way. Okay, so we're going to stick those in. And I'm going to use wet glue to stick them in because it gives you a bit of time to get them in the right place. You will see that they are there's a slight bit of gap at the end there, but that's fine because when you roll them together you need enough space. You see they've got a bit of a gap, but you need enough space that they're gonna, like, literally a couple of millimeters, just to make sure that they're going to be able to roll up properly. Right, so when you're sticking your boxes on, make sure that you stick them on like that. So you've got the blank piece and then 5 pattern pieces. Make sure that you leave the pattern piece on the end without a box on it. Okay, and the reason being is because when you roll them all up, this piece here is going to go over the top there, so you have a complete pattern on the outside, but you don't have you know, this bit's not showing, so you need to make sure that that's the case. Okay, I've just inked around the edges of this pattern paper because I wanted it to stand out. I didn't want to have to bother with mats and layers. So the next thing you need is to get some ribbon that goes with your project. I'm using the Paper Mania boutique ribbon from a few years ago, and you're probably going to need pretty much a metre. I mean, yeah, pretty much a metre, maybe a tiny bit less. And what you want to do is take some tape. I'm going to use red tape just because it's the right width and I know it's definitely going to stick. And then you're going to stick it halfway along the width. So 2.5 is 1 1/4. So that there is halfway. So what I'm going to do, now you see if you look at this one, I've stuck my ribbon down but I haven't stuck it all the way around. So I've stuck it, so there's the flap, so I've stuck it either side, up to either side of the flap. So I'm going to do the same with this one. So here is the flap, so I can stick it on this one and this one, but I'm not going to stick down onto this one. Okay, so then it can flap open. So we're going to just stick that down now. Okay, so there's the ribbon on. So now we're just going to fold it all up, bring the ribbon across and tie a bow. Oops. And there you go, there you have your little box. Now mine needs a bit of working on because I made a few mistakes because I'm not feeling 100%, but you get the idea. Okay, and so there's your box. So I hope you have a go. Have a good day.